Let's bring in Secretary Tom Price, who's Secretary of Health and Human Services. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Ainsley.
You were traveling with the president yesterday. You were there at the table with him. Tell us what happened.
Well, I think the message from yesterday is the incredible partnership and cooperation between the local, city, county, state officials, along with the federal government. What the president shared with folks is his passion, his love for the country, but his concern about those individuals that have been affected by this historic storm. The resources that have been brought to bear from the federal government to assist the local, city, county, and state folks are unprecedented. Here at HHS, we've got more individuals deployed than ever in the history of HHS to make certain that individuals are not just getting to safety, to make sure that their health care needs are met. So it was a remarkable visit. We saw the spirit and the enthusiasm and the compassion of Texans, understanding that, as your report just showed, we're still in the rescue and the life-saving phase.
Mr. Secretary, you were right there next to the president as he was briefed, but also as he was able to talk to people affected by the storm. A very human experience. Talk to us about his personal reaction. How did it affect him and his view of the reaction down there?
Well, the president has a great passion for the American people, and when he sees people hurting, it hurts him. And so what he has attempted to convey to individuals is the concern of the federal government, the commitment of the federal government to make certain that we do all that we can to help those folks on the ground get through this incredibly devastating storm. The challenges that we will have will be ongoing for years, literally. This is not just a couple-week event. Remember that we're measuring rainfall here in feet, not in inches, in feet. So the consequences of that are significant, and we're going to do all that we can from a federal government standpoint to make sure we get people back in their homes and back to what will be a new normal.
So we understand a lot of people got to go to shelters, and some don't even realize if they have a home to go back to. What are the numbers you have been told that you're going to be dealing with in terms of the survivors of this, the refugees of this?
Yeah, this is preliminary, but it looks like about 500,000 individuals will be have their home impacted in some way, their home or their living area impacted some way. Now, some of them will be able to get FEMA's commitment is to be able to get them back in just as rapidly as possible, understanding that water is absolutely destructive, and so there are going to need to be things that will be done to make certain that their homes or their apartments or their living situation is safe. But 500,000 individuals will have to be cared for in some way to make certain that we can address their needs.
And Mr. Secretary, as you know, sometimes those houses can be weapons because they rebuild and the mold comes back, and maybe some construction people looking to make a quick buck won't even do the correct analysis, and people end up suffering long-term effects on that.
Yeah, the health care challenges are significant, and most individuals that are harmed by a major storm like this and major flooding episode aren't harmed in the storm itself, but have challenges later because of their medical conditions. So chronic medical illnesses, chronic diseases that can't be met because the doctor's office is closed. People can't get to their doctor. They can't get to their dialysis unit. They can't get to their pharmacy. All of the things that we consider normal in the course of our day-to-day activities, those things are interrupted. And that's where the federal government comes in. That's where HHS comes in and makes certain that those gaps are filled.
You know, it sounds crazy, but I see here on other channels, they're commenting that the president didn't talk about the human condition when he was sitting around the table with you and Senator Cruz and Governor Abbott. What's your reaction to that?
Well, it pains the American people to see folks pick at a president who has such passion for the American people. I've met with the president on multiple occasions where I have felt his concern and passion and love for the American people, he clearly demonstrated that yesterday. His commitment was to get down there and to say to Texans and to the folks who've been harmed by this storm, we are with you. We are all together in this. Americans helping Americans.
Right. There was ever time for health and human services. It is now. Mr. Secretary, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you so much. Thanks for what you're doing for the American people.